See temperatures stay at or below freezing, but have no fear. I do see them climbing safely above freezing on Saturday and Sunday. In fact, by the end of the weekend, we could see afternoon highs in the 50s. Now remember, you can keep track of the weather and get alerts to your phone through the KVUE News app. It's free to download in the App Store, of course. Stick with KVUE On Air for all the latest updates. Yvonne?
Austin Travis County Emergency Medical Services asking people to avoid elevated roads and overpasses after a 14-car pileup shut down all of I-35 and 290.
Go ahead and shut down southbound 35 north.
It's a 10-vehicle pileup. They're asking for units.
Go ahead and shut down all 35 at 290. Hey, can you advise if at any point if anybody needs to be transported by EMS to the hospital?
Only one person was injured and they did not go to the hospital, but this is just one example of why officials are asking people to avoid these areas this morning. Our Connor Board is actually in that area right now this morning. I know you took it nice and slow to get there, but Connor, what does it look like right now?
Yvonne, definitely a much different scene this morning. What we're seeing really is those road conditions seem to be a lot better today from what we're seeing on I-35. I'm going to step out of the shot for you. Like you said, we are on I-35 near 290 in North Austin. When we were driving around North Austin today, we saw some icy patches, but we didn't see too much ice where we were. But you need to keep in mind, it's different on every street, different every area. I heard Rob say earlier, you know, some of those overpasses like near 183, you don't want to drive on those. You really want to avoid the overpasses and elevated surfaces today. We'll show you some more of that video from that crash last night. Like Yvonne said, 14 cars were piled up and luckily only one person was injured in that crash. But you know, after this crash, Austin EMS just wanted to remind people it is not worth it to go on those elevated surfaces. Even if it looks okay, there is black ice. You can't tell, and if someone crashes and you have to hit those brakes quickly, it can cause a lot of problems like we saw with that crash. So this morning, even though, like I said, things seem to be doing better and a lot more people are out on the road today compared to yesterday where people really listened and stayed inside, but of course people do have places they may need to go today. So if you're going out, make sure to avoid those elevated surfaces. I can't emphasize that enough. Just make sure to take it slow. It's really worth it in the long run, even if you're a little late. Just try to leave early if you can. Now we're going to check back in with Bryce Newberry, who had a couple issues with the ice today, but he's back with us now. Bryce?
Yes, Connor, we are finally on the road right now taking the flyover from Mopac to 183. If you take a look outside, you can definitely see some of that ice accumulation from yesterday built up on the side of the road. So again, this is a flyover, and that was the big concern for crews yesterday, and it's still the concern today. So if you are driving today, it looks like a lot of the main lanes, we're getting onto 183 now, a lot of the main lanes, and I'm looking ahead up there, are looking just fine. They're very clear, cars are moving along, but the issue is still on some of these elevated surfaces that had more of a chance to freeze and continue to freeze. So everything's looking great. We did drive on Burnett Road earlier this morning and it was pretty clear as well. So we have not come across any issues. The one major issue though that we have had this morning is our tire pressure. Yeah, our tire pressure in the satellite truck that we're driving in this morning. We just got out of the KVUE parking lot and that's when the signal turned on the dashboard. So we turned around, went back, photographer JP got to work, his hands were freezing and he had to air up the tires because of those cold temperatures. Well, tires could be affected. So if you're going anywhere today, double check before you get too far because that could be very dangerous. Chris, how are the roads looking across the rest of Central Texas this morning?
Bryce, I'm happy to see you are on the up and up. It's been a heck of a morning for you. Glad to see you're out there being safe on the roadways. And like you showed, there is some ice buildup not only on the sides of the roads, but especially on some of the elevated surfaces. And this is area wide. As Shane has mentioned, the temperatures are below freezing. Everybody saw that freezing or frozen precipitation yesterday. So if you have to get on the roads this morning, you want to make sure you give yourself extra time, extra distance between you and the car in front of you. And again, if you can stay inside, stay inside. That's going to be the safest measure over the next few few hours. And folks, you also want to be careful on the sidewalks and the stairs. There are patchy areas, and that's how a lot of injuries occur during winter weather as well as cold temperatures. You step outside, you step on the ice, and you fall down. So just make sure that you are playing it safe out there, not only on the roadways, but as you are getting outside and you're taking your dog on a walk. Taking a look at a couple of the tech stock cams, you can see there's really not a lot of traffic out there, and that's great news. That has really limited what we're seeing across the area. Taking a look at the Austin metro area, we do have a few incidents that have recently popped up. We're going to gather more information on those incidents, and then we will disseminate that to you here in just a few minutes.
Chris, thank you. Today, Capital Metro is operating on a critical service schedule starting at 10 this morning. That means the buses will run somewhere between every 30 to 60 minutes from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. But the Metro Express, the Metro Rail pickup service, and UT shuttles will not run. Capital Metro says it plans to resume normal service tomorrow. And if you are planning to fly out of Austin's airport today, take a look at your screen. According to FlightAware, more than 130 flights have been canceled so far. You see on the yellow right there on the far right of your screen, canceled, canceled, canceled. The airport said just before 5:30 a.m. the runway is dry, but there could still be some delays and cancellations. That's really up to the airlines. The runway may be fine, the airport's fine, but the planes are not. They have to get de-iced. Make sure to check your status with your airline before you go to the airport.
And right now, 17 Texas counties are under a disaster declaration because of the weather, and Williamson County is included. At the moment, Wilco is the only county in our area covered in the declaration. The rest are in North Texas.
And once again, Governor Greg Abbott will update the state on the winter weather and its impacts today.
Yes, state agencies will be briefing him at 10:30 this morning. Then half an hour after, at 11 o'clock, he's going to give us an update. Of course, we're going to bring that to you live on air, online, and on our social media channels. So make sure to watch midday for that. And still to come on Daybreak, the new ordinance that could keep Austin renters who are late paying their bills in their homes.
KVUE Traffic is sponsored by DC Law. Injured in an accident? Call DC Law at 512
The time is 6:14 on your Friday morning, and we want to take a little bit of time to thank our viewers. Thank you so much for sending in your photos yesterday. The photos, the videos, everything you tagged us in on social media platforms. We cannot effectively tell the weather story here in Central Texas without your help. So thank you. Continue to send them our way. Tag us on all of our social media platforms. Send them into the station. We'd love to get them on air. Now we are taking a look at what we are tracking across Central Texas. We are continuing to hold on to that winter storm warning for a majority of us until 10 o'clock this morning. Fayette County, you are under a winter weather advisory. The reason this was kind of extended was due to the fact that we're tracking those icy bridges and overpasses, which could make for some hazardous travel conditions today. Temperatures across Travis County sitting in the 20s. As you make your way around the surrounding region, we're talking 20s as well, except out in the hill country. Fredericksburg, you're sitting in the teens at 19 degrees. Now keep in mind, it's breezy out there, so we're seeing a significant wind chill, feeling like it's in the single digits for a majority of the region. Feels like it's 12 as you make your way to Austin. A wind chill advisory is in effect for the entire KVUE viewing area until 9 o'clock this morning, just due to how cold it will feel out there. So I thought maybe this is an appropriate time for us to talk about how wind chill is created or why wind chill exists. So you have the body, typical average temperature around 98.6 degrees. It has this layer of warmth around it. But then you factor in the wind, okay? Wind kind of moves away the warmth that the body's able to create, and that makes the temperature drop even faster. So on your skin, you'll notice we always talking about using lotion or moisturizer. There's that thin layer of moisture on top of your skin, and it tends to dry out whenever we have cold temperatures or strong air. Well, that wind evaporates the moisture off of your skin, that cools the air around it, and that makes your body temperature drop even faster. So that's why we are tracking that wind chill advisory, while the key is to wear layers for today. It's breezy. Maybe many of you out there west of I-35 hearing the wind against your window. We're talking gusts up to 25 miles per hour. 35 mile per hour gusts will be fair game for the first half of the day. While a majority of us are sitting nice and dry, we were tracking just a few light snow flurries, as you can see, just south of Austin and even stretching down towards San Antonio. No accumulation is expected. In fact, a ridge of high pressure is building into the state right now, and that's helping to push out that moisture even further to the east. These are the temperatures and conditions you need to prepare for, okay? Feels like temperatures and wind chill values in the mid-20s as we make our way into the afternoon. This morning, plan for single digits and lower teens, okay? Hypothermic conditions that we're tracking out there. For the afternoon, I do expect many of us to achieve temperatures above freezing, especially along and east of I-35. You can see these projections want to put the hill country above freezing as well, but that will be very heavily dependent on cloud coverage if we're able to get some breaks in the cloud and get some more sunshine for you. Have no fear if you don't reach it today, because we will see temperatures safely above freezing for the weekend. A weak cold front arrives on Sunday night into Monday. That could only knock us back down into the lower 50s, but an even stronger warming trend for next week. Your overnight lows, though, are still going to be bitterly cold. We're talking widespread hard freezes for the next couple of evenings, even a light freeze possible on Monday and Tuesday mornings, and then safely above freezing as we head towards the middle of next week. Your 7-day forecast shows the return of the 60s, but it doesn't arrive until the middle of next week. Now, we're also monitoring the roads. Chris, how are they looking this morning?
Shane, that's a 64 I saw on that 7-day. I am ready for it. It's cold out there, and we still have some icy patches on the roadways, especially the elevated surfaces. So you want to make sure if you have to get out this morning, you give yourself extra time, especially if you're heading west of Austin or again on any elevated roads or surfaces. You can see there's really not too much going on across the area, not a lot of traffic on the roadways. We love to see that. And taking a look at the Austin metro area, there's really not too many incidents going on, which is great news. It shows that people are either staying inside or listening to the warning and going slowly across the area. There is this one incident we've been keeping an eye on throughout the duration of the morning. This is an accident on Arboretum Boulevard at Great Hills Trail. There's a lot of ice in that area, there's a lot of terrain, so make sure you're playing it safe. There could be some delays out there. And we also have a road closure as you work your way west into Gillespie County. This is 385 that is closed due to a jackknife semi. This is both ways, so east and westbound between US 377 and 290. So again, we do have a few incidents out there. Just play it safe, give yourself extra time on the roads. And if you do encounter any issues, here's a roadside assistance number. It's also on your Texas driver's license. Call 1-800-525-5555. Yvonne?
All right, sounds nice. Thank you so much. In other news this morning, renters have a few more rights in the Austin area. Yesterday, city council members passed two measures. One starts the process of protecting renters owners who organize. The other puts an ordinance in place that allows tenants more time to pay late rent before they get kicked out. Greg Casar is saying goodbye to the city council. Yesterday was his last council meeting.
Now, Casar is leaving to run for Congress. While saying goodbye, several speakers thanked him for his service. Listen.
Now, I would like to wholeheartedly thank our friend council member Greg Casar for his years of service on city council, for his ability to problem solve and keep things always moving forward, for his tireless hard work for progressive causes, too many to count, and for his true friendship.
Obviously, there is still so much work to be done, and we know what that work is. But I leave here very hopeful that Austin has the ability to take those challenges on.
Now, Jose Chito Vela will replace Casar as the representative for District 4. Vela will be sworn in on Monday.
Austin bakers are coming together to raise money for an historic restaurant that was destroyed by a fire. Last month, the fire wrecked Texas French bread on Rio Grande Street, and officials say mechanical failures started the fire. It caused more than $1 million in damages, making that building a total loss. And now one nonprofit and another Austin restaurant are raising dough to get the place back on its feet. See what I did there? Easy Tiger is hosting the Bakers Benefit Sunday, February 6th, and the bake sale will run from 4 to 7 p.m. at the address right there on your screen. That's at 3508 South Lamar.
I see what our producers did there. They wrote it clever. We just read their words. They do all the hard work.
Yeah, sometimes words are hard, especially this morning.
Still ahead, it's going to cost you a pretty penny for Prime.
Yes, Amazon's popular membership is getting more expensive for all users. Well, that free 2-day shipping is going to cost you a little bit more. Amazon is raising the price of Prime memberships. For this story and more, here's ABC's Mona Kassar-Opti.
In today's Tech Bites, more money for Amazon Prime. The annual subscription will go up $20 to $139. The monthly rate will rise from $13 to $15. Amazon says the price hike is needed for several reasons, including paying for more big budget shows on Prime Video. Google is now offering its Workspace tools to everyone, even if they don't have Gmail. Users can sign up for Workspace Essential Starter for free, and coworkers can collaborate on Google Docs, Sheets, and other features. It's an effort to attract more business users to the platform. Finally, this year's Super Bowl will be a no-drone zone. The FAA is banning drones within 30 miles of the airspace around SoFi Stadium during game day. Violators could face criminal charges and fines of $30,000. So just go ahead and watch it on the ground like the rest of us. Those are your Tech Bites. Have a great day.
We're taking an in-depth look at your hourly forecast, where temperatures are expected to rise above freezing for a majority of central Texas this afternoon. That should help with our roadway conditions at least a bit. We'll have an update on the roads in just a few.
KVUE Traffic is sponsored by DC Law. Injured in an accident? Call DC Law at 512-888-9999.
Nothing to be afraid of. It's only a trap door.
Because of last year, people are pretty much afraid, so they want to stock up on food in case the power goes out.
Oh yeah, several places across Texas feeling the impacts of yesterday's winter weather. Drivers in Dallas sliding all over the road, with several requiring help from tow trucks. Airport crews just as busy keeping the runways clear, de-icing the planes. But still, more than 1,000 flights canceled yesterday at DFW, just like hundreds were canceled here in Austin.
And in San Antonio, a huge tree fell on several cars. Across Texas this morning, the roads are also slick. But the other big concern, power. Demand is supposed to peak today across the Lone Star State, but officials say the grid can handle it. This is a look at ERCOT's website. The purple line, that thick purple line, shows the supply power. The blue line below shows demand. Right now, there's enough electricity being generated to meet demand statewide. And during February's winter storm last year, Texans were using a lot of power.
The peak energy demand went a little over 69,000 megawatts, which, as we all remember, almost caused the grid to completely fail and did cause millions of people to lose power. Well, this time around, ERCOT predicts the peak energy demand will hit around 74,000 megawatts around 8 o'clock this morning. That is more than last year, but the difference is the grid has been winterized. Nothing is offline, and they have a ton more energy reserves to handle all of that demand. That is the good news. There were problems. They fixed the problems. They moved forward, and they become better. You learn from your mistakes. They've done that.
Of course, by the way, you notice we're all wearing red for a reason. Why, guys?
Go Red for Women Day.
Go Red for Women Day to support, obviously heart health. It's so important.
Yeah, absolutely
important. And I was saying earlier, I was like, we're supporting that great cause. We're also putting red out there to try and warm up the temperatures for us. We're trying to think of up. That's what we're trying to think. You wouldn't believe it if you take a look at our downtown web camera, because there's still that thin layer of ice that we're tracking on it, but at least you can start to see the outlines of the buildings. Yesterday, you couldn't at this time. 23 degrees is what the thermometer is reading out at Camp Mabry, but it feels like it's 16 degrees, and that's because we're tracking a significant wind chill across central Texas this morning. We're talking lower to mid-20s in Travis County, 23 in Manor and at the airport, 22 in Oak Hill, and 20 as you make your way north to Cedar Park, 22 in Leander, similar to areas such as Cameron. A little bit warmer as you make your way to LaGrange. Coolest areas out there in the hill country, sitting in the lower 20s. I actually saw you at around 19 degrees about 20 to 30 minutes or so ago. Notice that it is breezy out there. In fact, we're seeing gusts up to 25 miles per hour at this time. Gusts anywhere from 30 to 35 miles per hour will still be fair game throughout the rest of this morning. We do have a significant wind chill. As I mentioned, it feels like it's in the single digits, not only along and west of I-35, but even some isolated spots out there in Giddings and Bastrop. We're talking 9 degrees is what it feels like. Coldest feels like temperatures in Fredericksburg, where it feels like it's 6 degrees. So that's why area-wide we have a wind chill advisory. Just an interesting fact, the last time that Travis County was issued a wind chill advisory was back in February 14th of 2021, so last year's winter storm. It's in effect until 9 o'clock this morning. That's due to that significant wind chill that we're going to be experiencing. In addition to the winter storm warning that lasts until 10 o'clock this morning, Fayette County, you'll be under that winter weather advisory. Icy bridges and tricky travel conditions, that's what's going to be the main impacts for this warning for today. We are starting to see some indications of maybe some light flurries moving in from the southwest, even just south of Austin. I wouldn't be surprised if you see a flurry. If you're able to catch one on video, please by all means send it in, tag us on social media. I think most of us are going to be staying dry though. That's going to be due to that ridge of high pressure that's building in. It's pushing this moisture even further out towards the east, and it's going to be keeping us dry. Will be keeping us windy and, most importantly, cold. Notice your wind chills. What you need to prepare and dress for throughout the day are going to be only peaking in the mid-20s. This morning, single digits and lower teens. So the key will be multiple layers, because these are hypothermic conditions we are tracking for you today. Notice area-wide, we're staying in the 30s. Now, all of these projections have us above freezing. If cloud coverage is a little bit more stubborn, I do foresee the hill country maybe seeing some isolated areas that stay at or below freezing. But have no fear, a warming trend will kick in for the weekend. Not much of one. We're talking mid-40s on Saturday. It's still cold, but it's above freezing. Same for Sunday. We're talking mostly sunny skies and temperatures in the 50s. We'll hold on to 50s on Monday. Notice the temperatures take a slight dip. That's due to a weak cold front. We could see maybe about a 10% chance of a shower. The bulk of the rain should be staying to the south of us. I'm not expecting any wintry precipitation, but I do expect temperatures to climb back into the 60s by the middle of next week. So keep your eyes on the prize, while Christopher Nunley is keeping his eyes on the roads. How are they looking, Chris?
Shane, I am ready for the 60s. We do have some icy spots out there, so it's widespread across the area. Those patches of ice, we had that precipitation yesterday. Those temperatures below freezing, like you mentioned, Shane. So you want to make sure you give yourself extra time on the roadways. If you do have to get out on them this morning, you want to probably double the time up. If it takes you 10 minutes to get to work, factor in 20 minutes and give extra distance between you and the car in front of you. And of course, be careful as you're walking out of the door. There are some icy patches on the stairs, the sidewalks, so you want to make sure you're playing it safe. Taking a look at the tech stock cams, you can see there's really not much traffic out there right now, so everything's moving along pretty well across the Austin metro area. Now, we do have some backups on Mopac. Not sure if that's due to weather, but there are some delays there. And then if you live into the hill country, notice as we head into Gillespie County, there is a road closure. 385 is closed. This is between 377 and 290 due to a jackknife semi. So again, that's the eastbound and westbound lanes. There are also some significant backups on I-10 in southwestern Gillespie County. So as you work your way west of 281 into the hill country, that's where we are seeing most of the icy conditions that are leading to some accidents, again, west of 281. Now, Connor is live. Where are you at this morning? How are the roads looking? How are the conditions out there? I know it's cold and we appreciate you being out there, but what are you seeing? Do you see a lot of icy spots on the roadways?
Chris, right now we're in North Austin. We're at I-35 right before where it meets 290. And really we have not seen many icy patches. The roads look good. Traffic seems to be flowing well here. But like you said, it can depend on where you're at, so you definitely want to take some time to get where you need to go today if you're going out on the roads. Definitely some good advice. So I'm going to let you see behind me. Like I said, this is I-35 and 290 in North Austin. Really, traffic seems to be flowing well. A lot more people on the road compared to yesterday. Not a lot of traffic, but definitely compared to yesterday when we didn't see really anyone on the roads. But we did not see much ice when we were driving around North Austin. But like I said, it could be patchy. There could be black ice. It could be different where you are. So you do want to take your time if you're going out on the roads. And the biggest thing I would say is still to avoid those elevated surfaces today, even though the roads look clear here. Rob did say earlier that some of the overpasses on 183 did have some ice, so you just want to be aware of that. Just take the safest route possible. But here last night was a different story. We actually had some video of a crash last night, a 14-car pileup right in the same location I'm at now. Up on the overpass was a 14-car pileup, and luckily only one person did get hurt, and they were not serious injuries. They didn't have to go to the hospital, and that was just on those overpasses. A good reminder that if you can take the extra time to leave early and avoid those overpasses, that is going to be your best bet. Now, like I said, if you are going on the roads this morning, it does seem in this area, North Austin, to have cleared up quite a bit, but you just don't know with how cold it is. If there is any water, it could get icy. And like Chris said, also, be careful where you're walking. That's one thing I've noticed this morning. Just a lot of sidewalks and grass areas are very, very icy. So just be careful out there this morning. Yvonne.
When in doubt, I do the little penguin shuffle. Our photographer Kenneth said to do the little shuffle so you don't slip, you know? Have you tried that? You tried the penguin shuffle? She's like, yeah, I'm too cold. All right, thanks so much, Connor. With more freezing temperatures in the forecast today, you need to be careful if you're going outside. I know that Connor was giving us some advice. You know, hypothermia is possible. Very serious. Here are some of the symptoms to look out for: slow, shallow breathing, confusion and memory loss, drowsiness or exhaustion, slurred or mumbled speech, bad coordination, and a slow, weak pulse. If someone's skin starts to turn red, get them inside to warm up right away. But if their skin turns gray while they're in the cold, get them to a hospital right away. That's good to know.
Many of you are turning to space heaters to keep warm during these freezing temperatures, but using them safely, you have to do it. They can absolutely kill. Here's KVUE's Bob Buckaloo.
Heating equipment causes more house fires than any other factor. Nearly 50,000 fires a year, according to the National Fire Protection Association. The vast majority of home heating fire deaths, 81%, involve portable space heaters. And over half of those deaths were caused by having heating equipment too close to things that can burn. In this controlled demonstration, it's easy to see how quickly a fire can get out of control. A space heater too close to a sofa, or a blanket that could accidentally fall onto a space heater. Fire safety experts have this advice about how to use space heaters safely. Keep it at least 3 feet from anything flammable like drapes or furniture. You should never set a space heater on carpet or an area rug. Put it on a hard and level surface like wood or tile. Don't leave it unattended. When you can't pay attention to a space heater, you need to turn it off. Keep out of reach of children and pets. Plug it directly into the outlet. Never use an extension cord or a surge protector. And regardless of how you heat your home, make sure to have a working smoke and carbon monoxide alarm. Stay warm and stay safe. Bob Buckaloo, KVUE News.
And that extension cord is so important. Do not ever use one. No matter how thick it is, it just simply pulls too much power from your home to go through an extension cord. To get the latest weather and news alerts, download the KVUE News app. It is free to download in the App Store.
All right, let's take a look at today's other top stories. President Joe Biden is threatening Russian leader Vladimir Putin with personal sanctions over Ukraine. Russia has thousands of troops at the Ukrainian border. 3,000 U.S. troops will be deployed to Europe and are on standby if Russia were to invade Ukraine.
Now, the Austin Watershed Protection Department says it could take up to 2 years for the aquatic life in the Harris Branch Creek tributary to get back to normal. Now, that's the tributary where acidic wastewater from the Samsung Austin Semiconductor facility leaked. During inspections of the off-site tributary by the Austin Watershed Protection Department, remains of dead aquatic species were found.
Well, here's some not so sweet news for everyone who loves chocolate. I know Rob just ate 2 candy bars right now.
2 of those right there.
Pretty much. Hershey is planning on raising its prices.
Come on, Hershey's.
The candy company says the price increase will offset higher ingredients and labor costs. Hershey is also hiring to help relieve the pressure on overworked employees. But I think that you will still shell out the extra money.
It's like oxygen. You would work 24 hours a day if you had to pay for oxygen, right?
He had a full Kit Kat bar and a full thing of peanut M&Ms. And I was just looking at him like,
and I wanted more.
I know, I'm sure he did.
She's never had frozen peanut M&Ms, by the way. If you've not, you've got to put them in the freezer.
I didn't know that was a thing, but with the temperatures, maybe you could just leave them outside. Still to come, the cleanups continue.
Now, the new areas of Austin that city leaders will begin clearing homeless camps.
And thank you, Chris. As we had to break, we're just showing you some of the photos that viewers have sent us. Oh, I thought this was from Chris, maybe. I don't know. Thank you to everyone that sent us those pics. If you have a photo that you'd like to send us, you can text it to 512-459-9442. Let's just say Chris send us that photo. Let's just go with that.
Near San Antonio. A mess at Sidney Baker Street here in Kerrville. You can see that line of cars stretching for miles sporadically from Junction to Comfort in both directions. That's roughly 50 to 60 miles. It begins at mile marker 502, which is further west on I-10. Right now, we don't know about how many injuries or if there may be any fatalities. Officers tell me that it began with several semis that were jackknifed, and as they were trying to get some of the vehicles turned around, more accidents happened, and it became a nightmare of a scene. I'm told they're trying to get the cars and trucks turned around to go in the right direction to clear this bottleneck up, but it may take until the mid to late morning hours. So avoid I-10 at all costs in and around Kerrville if you are in this area. I spoke with one trucker at a hotel who said he had to stop making deliveries last night. Now, we're trying to stay warm out here. They are in the trucks as well. Everyone is told to check drivetexas.org for the latest road conditions. Again, they're not expecting this to clear up until the mid to late morning hours once the sun gets up and we get closer to freezing. Back to you.
And I'm Bryce Newberry in Austin, where things are much calmer right now. We are on 130 northbound, and we're about to get on the flyover to 290, but you're taking a look at the roads live right now, and you can see they are bare and dry. The majority of roads that we're seeing throughout Central Texas this morning are looking really good. There are a couple of tricky spots that we've come across, and that's mostly on the flyovers, on any of those elevated surfaces where the ice accumulated yesterday. You'll see now as we're approaching this flyover, you'll start to see some of the trouble spots that I mentioned. But for the most part, if you need to get out today and get somewhere, the roads are looking really good for you. Just be aware that you might come across some spots like this, but if you can avoid spots like this, maybe take the surface streets or a back way that you know about to get where you need to go. That might be the better bet, because some of these elevated surfaces do look like this. And another important reminder this morning, if you do get in your car and you're heading out, check your tire pressure. That is an issue that we came across when we got in our satellite truck this morning before we hit the road. Had to turn around, air up the tires, and we're good to go now, but that is something that could be very dangerous if you don't check it before you get on the roads today. But take it easy and stay safe. We'll check in with Shane now for our forecast. Good morning, Shane.
Good morning, Bryce. Thank you so much for that report out on the roads. We are tracking that front continuing to push far out towards the east. You can see this system just spans really the entire, from the Gulf Coast all the way up to the northeast. It's very impressive in regards to the size of how large the storm system is. As you take away look closer back to Central Texas, we're starting to see maybe just a few flurries. Actually, we've been seeing them all morning, just some light flurry indications just south of the KVUE viewing area. If you see a few just start to sneak into the some of our southern counties, feel free, get a video, snap some pictures. We're not expecting any impacts from this, so it will be very fleeting, any snow flurries that we see this morning. Temperatures sitting well below freezing as you make your way to Travis County, not only in Travis County, but also as you make your way across the entire KVUE viewing area. We're now all in the 20s, so that's a pleasant change of pace. We were sitting in the teens for some of areas west of I-35 earlier this morning. Warmest areas down towards the south and the east. It is also a breezy start to your Friday. We're going to hold on to gusts like this as we go throughout the rest of the day. This morning, they could be anywhere from 30 to 35 miles per hour, tapering off as we go throughout the afternoon and early evening. You can see it packs a punch with that wind chill, what it's actually feeling like whenever you step outside, and more importantly, what you need to dress and prepare for if you're spending time outdoors. Single digits for areas such as Fredericksburg, Llano, Burnett, even Georgetown and Bastrop, 14 in Austin and 14 in LaGrange. Now, the entire area is under a wind chill advisory until 9 o'clock this morning. This is going to be due to that combination of dry, cold air and strong gusts. Like I said, 30 to 35 miles per hour for the rest of the morning. Winter storm warning that we've been showing you for a while now runs until 10 o'clock this morning for areas shaded in pink. And then we have that winter weather advisory for Fayette County. Main concerns today, icy roadways, especially from all that ice or sleet that was accumulated yesterday. Taking a look at some of the numbers that were reported at the the back half of your day yesterday, you could see that accumulations were anywhere from a few hundredths of an inch to several tenths of an inch. But this is pretty on trend with what the forecast models were calling for. The National Weather Service continuing to monitor any storm reports and get some ice accumulation measurements. We'll make sure to report on those throughout the day and evening with meteorologist Hunter Williams. Notice that as we go throughout the day, wind chills kind of peaking in the mid to upper 20s at best. So make sure you wear multiple layers because we are tracking hypothermic conditions. So as we map out your day, this is what you should expect. Not really going to be concerned with any moisture anymore. Temperatures may be above freezing for most of us as we make our way into the afternoon. In fact, the forecast model's pretty confident that they'll be above freezing along and east of I-35. The reason I say maybe above freezing is that some stubborn cloud coverage might prevent some of our hill country areas from rising above freezing. As we leap forward into tonight, widespread hard freeze once again falling back into the teens as you make your way toward the hill country. But the good news is we have a warming trend on the way for our afternoons. I do still expect several evenings of cold temperatures, but notice we're back into the 50s by Sunday. Your 7-day forecast shows us in the 60s by the middle of next week. We'll be tracking two cold fronts, but they're both fairly weak with very limited moisture. Rob?
Okay, thank you much. Turning now to some other news at 6:51, and the Austin City Council met yesterday to talk about several items.
Among them is an effort to create more charging stations for electric vehicles. The council approved an ordinance that accepts $36,000 in grant funds. That money will be used to build 13 electrical vehicle charging stations and 26 charging ports in an effort to electrify the city of Austin's fleet.
The council expanded a contract also for cleanups at homeless camps. Cleanup will now include encampments on parklands. Last May, of course, Austin voters reinstated Austin's public camping ban, so now police can arrest people for violating that camping ban.
All right, let's take a live look outside at our roadways. Stick with us. We're going to have a final check on how things are looking out there with Chris Nunley on traffic. And then we also have another check of the forecast right after the break.
When it comes to hiring a personal
Welcome back. It's 6:55, and today Capital Metro is operating on a critical service schedule starting at 10 this morning. That means the buses will run somewhere between every 30 to 60 minutes from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. But the Metro Express, the Metro Rail pickup service, and UT shuttles will not run. Capital Metro says it plans to resume normal service tomorrow.
And if you're planning to fly out of Austin's airport today, check your flight status before you go. According to FlightAware, 139 flights have been canceled. Some arriving flights also may be disrupted today, as there are more than 3,500 flights canceled across the country. And take a look at these photos viewers have been sending in since the temperature started dropping in central Texas.
That is so pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of cuties. Well, be sure to, be sure you show a cute little dog in a sweater and I melt.
Yeah.
All right, be sure to show us what it looks like outside your front door. Tweet us or text us your photos, 512-459-9442, or use the hashtag DaybreakATX.
And speaking of photos, picture this. All of our managers are in the building, sleeping in their offices, making sure that we are fed in the morning, we're fed out, in the afternoon. I had a sandwich brought to me right now. We want to thank all of our managers for making sure that we stay on the air, especially our chief engineer, Rick, who has been staying here to make sure that we stay on the air. We keep you informed, right?
Yeah, and Shane slept here also on the couch. Yeah, making sure that everybody was safe. So we appreciate everybody who did that.
All right, let's take a look at the roads.
Yeah, so we have a new accident that just recently popped up. This is on 290 westbound. This is at Giles Road. This is just to the west of the toll road, so you may want to allow for extra time if you are getting out on the roadways. Gillespie County, a complete mess. We mentioned I-10 through southwestern Gillespie County. It's messy right now. We also have a road closure, 385 closed eastbound and westbound due to a jackknife vehicle. Of course, that's where the heaviest wintry precipitation found. If you are getting on the roadways, you want to make sure you give yourself extra time and be careful on the stairs and sidewalks. Shane?
Thank you, Chris. Let's show you a look at those wind chills throughout the next 12 hours. This is what you need to dress for. Multiple layers keys, as temperatures might only feel as warm as the mid-20s this afternoon. The good news is a warming trend kicks in. We should be above freezing for today and safely above freezing as we head throughout the weekend.
Have a good weekend.
Spokespersons for Lorenz and Lorenz.